I made 5 money mistakes in my 20s, and if I hadn't, I would have hit my first 100K a lot sooner. And that's why I'm sharing them, so you don't have to make the same ones. Let's get into it. Mistake number 1. Trading is not investing. I started investing when I was 21. I started with some banking stock, safe, steady, blue chip. But it grew so slowly that I got impatient. So I turned to my friends instead, who were all buying fast growth speculative stocks. So that side of portfolio was pure gambling. I would buy and sell on a whim, making a few hundreds on a week, and feel like an absolute genius. I bought those stocks because my friends told me to, but I actually have zero clue of what those companies do and how they even make profits. So naturally, I started losing money. Well, the only saving grace of your 20s is that I didn't have a lot of money to begin with, so I also don't have a lot of money to lose. But when I saw those speculative stock drops, my natural instinct is to buy more, thinking I was getting a cheaper price so that I can get my money back sooner. But in reality, I was actually averaging down some really bad stocks and holding them for longer than I should. It is a classic sunk cost fallacy. I kept throwing my money after the really bad stocks without letting them go because I couldn't admit I have been wrong. Oh my god, the same things actually applies to dating, but let's not talk about that. So the turning point for me was the beginning of COVID. I lost money fast on those speculative high growth stocks, and it forced me to completely change my strategy. I leaned harder to what I've already understood, like those tech giants, because I could see digitalization accelerating really fast through COVID, and alongside some steady, boring index fund. And that crash was actually my chance to buy the dip. And that is where the real foundation of my wealth was built. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing my own experience. So please do your own research when it comes to your own investment. So these days, the risky speculative stocks is only maybe like 3% of my overall portfolio. It's just fun money I'm okay to lose. But the majority is actually index fund. Honestly, it's really hard for a beginner to know which individual stocks to pick. If I gotten the balance right in my early 20s, I could have saved myself a good chunk of losses I took averaging down on stocks that never recover. But remember, investing comes with risk. So please assess your personal situation before you decide whether to go on that path. Mistake 2. Trying to buy an identity. I feel like a lot of us had gone through the phase where I wanted to feel fancy, classy, or an adult. I loved hanging out in nicer restaurants, nicer places, holding a cocktail instead of a lemonade because it made me feel sophisticated. So to live up to that identity, I changed my wardrobe to match. And the centerpiece was a Van Cleef necklace. I do love it, genuinely. If I'm honest, it doesn't make me happier than just a normal, good quality necklace I would buy, which doesn't cost £1,000. I just pay a lot more to get there. And I don't even travel with it or wear it to work because I go to the gym after work and I'm so afraid of losing it. So I spend most of the time sitting in my drawer instead of actually being worn. And it wasn't just about the necklace. Ending up all the sophisticated cocktails I didn't even want because it was so sugary, and every outfit bought to live up to that identity. I probably wouldn't want to know like how much everything actually costs in total. But I still think it is okay to treat yourself. But at the same time, we should know whether we actually want it or we're just trying to live up to an identity because it is a trap. We will always want more. I think the real wealth is not having more, but needing less to be happy. I genuinely believe chic doesn't come from a price tag or logos. It actually comes from your taste. If you know your body and your style well enough, something basic could look gorgeous. And same thing for the places you hang out. For me, the company matters so much more. Mistake number 3. Being too polite to negotiate. When I graduated and started working, I was just so grateful to even got a job because I felt like I was still learning. I didn't have any skills yet, which is also kind of true. So when I jumped from my first company to my second company, which was my dream job at the time, I got over a 5% bump from a really poor salary. But I was really thrilled I didn't push back. I didn't ask for what else was possible. I just said yes and felt grateful for someone that wants me. At the same time, I was also terrified if I asked for more, they would end up choosing somebody else. So now, after working for nearly a decade, please hear me on this. If they give you an offer, they are choosing you. They're not going to throw away weeks of interviews just because you asked a polite question about the budget. And usually when you do job hopping, this is when you have more leverages. People usually negotiate for like 20% bump. I have a few friends, they actually managed to double their salary when they jumped company. And in my last PR role, I found that I was paid 10% less than my peer who we share similar experience and we are doing the exact same role. Simply because she asked for more, she got more. I was bitter about it for a while, but I think it is another valuable lesson. Always ask for the budget before giving away your number. And if you're confident or already delivering good work, ask for a salary review. Worst case, they say no, but at least you fought the best you could. Mistake 4. A master's degree is too expensive for soul searching. If I'm honest, the real reason I did my master was that I was a bit lost, a bit bored, and I needed a new challenge. But I also convinced myself that having a master's degree would help me get a better salary in the future, or I could get a better job. But turns out I don't think that part is entirely true. I spent about £20,000 in a master in corporate communication. While I love the social science and psychology's aspects of that, shortly after graduating, I realized I didn't even want to continue in this field. And I think like studying in universities is usually quite theoretical. I couldn't actually apply what I've learned to real work life. So later when I got into design, I decided I didn't want to sign up for expensive boot camps. I wanted to try doing it on my own. And that actually works. I do feel like a master is more for the student experience. But since I did my part-time alongside work, I was just running to school after I finished work. So I think from that point of view, the knowledge I walked away with wasn't really worth £20,000 for me. Some universities actually have pretty good network and they might open the door for you and you could get a much better job. But for others who might not be chosen from that program or not interested in working for those companies, I don't really think it gives you much pay rise because of that. I think at the end of the day, your work portfolio and your job experience matter more than your education. So do it if you have spare money or you genuinely love the subject. It's just my personal opinion. So if you are on the fence, like go to LinkedIn and find the alumni who went on the same course and ask for their honest feedback before you drop thousands or hundreds of pounds. Mistake number 5. Talk about false economy, saving a little now but paying a lot more later. Many years ago, I was heading to the airport and my bus didn't show up. And instead of just grabbing a taxi, because I was already very tight in time, I decided to take the MTR. Instead to save maybe like $200, like £20. It was super stressful. I ended up sprinting through the airport. My heart was absolutely pounding. And I made it to the gates with barely any time to spare. And my friends was waiting for me, really nervous about whether I could make it or I would miss my flight. So that is the false economy I was talking about. I was so focused on not overspending on stuff that I nearly paid a much bigger price. Imagine if I missed my flights, I have to rebook everything or I might lose my holiday. So I think it's applying the same patterns of things, like buying the cheap and low quality stuff and end up having to replace them or repair them weeks later. So I think for now, even though I'm paying a bit more, I would opt for a better quality of service and items. So looking back now, I wouldn't call any of these a disaster. And I feel like I genuinely needed those lessons, but I really wish I came into the realization a lot sooner. I think moving abroad alone and having a massive career shift at the same time really pushed me to get my finance together because of the uncertainty of that all. So if one of these hits close to home, let me know which one in the comment section. If you want to know the exact habits that help me build that 100k, check out this video next, and I'll see you soon. Bye!